Hey all, this is 012 Boku again. I'm coming at you with another movie review, and the one that I'm coming at you with today is yet another cartoon one. Monsters versus Aliens. Ooh, and all that goodness there. Just making sure you guys always get a good shot of the cover and whatnot. Now, Monsters versus Aliens, another DreamWorks production, as you can, I guess, if you guys didn't know that this was a DreamWorks movie. But DreamWorks production. It's a good movie. When I first saw the trailer for it, I was blown away. I thought it was an interesting idea. Monsters vs. Aliens had quite a bit of promise, and looks like it had a lot of good visuals, a good story using monsters to battle aliens and so on and, and so forth. Just really good, really good stuff. And basically, the movie is really good. So, no big complaints about it. Well, sorry not to keep saying so basically, but to start off with the movie, this movie begins with an alien invading the Earth, and believe the alien's name is Galaxar, who is played by Rainn Wilson, who actually does a amazing job as Galaxar. And you don't know much about him, but he's this squid-like tentacle villain coming to Earth with the main thing of domination, and he wants to take over and do all these weird things. And he actually just has a giant, huge, like missile land in the middle of, I believe it's maybe it's the Mojave, I'm not sure, but it's like in the middle of a desert, like woodland area. I know it's in the west somewhere. I'm not sure where. Can't really remember where, but it was there because Galaxar is looking for this rock that will supply power to his army as well to himself for use of the galactic domination that he wants. And this rock, I think it's if I remember, it's called Raritonium. And the Raritonium lands outside a church on a wedding day of this particular character. Forget her name, but she's played by Reese Witherspoon. Just give me one moment. I'm gonna also try to get a sheet here to look up all their names and stuff. So I always have my sheets to tell you guys how things are going and they look. But she gets near this rock on her wedding day, as everything is getting perfect for her to celebrate, be with her family and friends, have all the great thing with her parents, friends, family, because it's her wedding day. She waited for this a very long time. And on the wedding day, her husband, who's played by Paul Rudd, who is a newscaster, wants to apparently give her the best, but he's more centered on his career and what he wants. Oh honey, I just got this job here, and I just got this one here, so we can't go to Paris, or we can't do this. Let's go to this Modesto, California, or New Jersey. The last places anybody would want to go for their weddings. And that's his name. I now remember the person she was going to marry, Derek Beadle. Once again, I believe I said played by Paul Rudd, and Susan, who is the woman who finds the rock, played by Reese Witherspoon. There we go. And, it was one of those things where, she was excited, maybe not as excited because, her and her husband weren't going to go to Paris like where she wanted to go to have an adventure and to be somewhere new. So, a little disappointed, and a little disappointed in that she does walk off and she heads toward where this asteroid rock landed. Believe she touches it, or Susan comes into contact with it, and she grows to be. Well, actually, no. Sorry, I'm getting out of myself. She like gets near it, it shocks her, and explodes around her, and something is absorbed inside of her. She doesn't know what happens really, but she's a bit of a mess, and she comes into the wedding hall about to get married, and while her and Derek are receiving their vows from the priest, Susan grows to, I believe, like, like, I think, skyscraper size tallness. Like, I forget how tall they said they say it, but I can't remember. But she becomes basically giant woman because of the raritonium that's inside her that affects her body. And all heck breaks loose. Like, the government's already there around her. They were trying to get the raritonium, but they see what she's become, and she basically gets taken captive by the army, and she gets sent to this secret base where there's a whole bunch of monsters, and this secret base is owned by the government under a General W.R. Monger, who is brilliantly played by Kiefer Sutherland. And you look at General Monger, and General Monger actually has the look of Kiefer Sutherland, and just the way Kiefer Sutherland played the character in the film, he just does a great job. It's amazing what he does as Monger. He's like General, not General Ripper, the person George C. Scott plays and Doctor Strange. Oh, General Turgidson. There we go, General Turgidson. That George C. Scott plays in Doctor Strangelove. He basically has that similar, like, tough man style. And Kiefer Sutherland plays it great. And he basically explains how Susan is here because she's unusual. She can't function in normal society. And, she's here to just be protected for her own sake, as well as to keep the world away from her so they don't harm her. Because I think they mentioned this in the audio commentary of the film. They say that, General Monger could be looked at as a person, who's cruel, unusual, keeping these monsters locked up. But he actually feels for all these monsters and is just doing his best to keep them safe. So Monger really is a nice guy. Susan, though, is having none of it. She's not liking how her life was ripped away from Derek, how she was ripped away from her parents, her wedding day, the biggest day of her life. So she's not happy about that. And while she's in this one rumpus room, if you want to call it, getting fed from like a tube of slop, which is like gruel or some darn thing, what happens is a bunch of other monsters come in. At first, there's a cockroach man who was a scientist whose experiment went awry, who is played by Hugh Laurie. I believe his name is just Dr. Cockroach. Let's see here. Yeah, Hugh Laurie, Dr. Cockroach, PhD. He basically is a very smart man whose experiment with cockroaches went awry, and he has a cockroach for a head, and he does some zany things, and it's just a perfect role for Hugh Laurie. And then there's the missing link. They just call Link, but he's like the creature from the Black Lagoon who came out of nowhere, who always wants to have a lot of good women around him. He's got apparently this great strength, but he's not sort of good looking. He looks strong, but he's got like a beer gut, and he's a little full of himself. He's played by Will Arnett, and Will Arnett does a great job voicing him. You can see that coming from The Missing Link. And then there is Bob, who is like a chemical of some kind. I think it's like a benzoate oxygen or something like that. Brilliantly placed by Seth Rogen, is sort of the dumbish character, but the one who really sympathizes with people. And Seth Rogen does a great job on that. And then there's actually a giant sort of Godzilla creature, which is basically like an insect mixed with a gerbil. It's called Insectosaurus. And Insectosaurus seems to be like really good friends with the Missing Link, and Missing Link knows how to calm him down and everything. And Insectosaurus is like a big dog, so it's really cute on that. And they're all here being monitored by the government. They're asking, Susan, like, oh, what did they name you? What did, people scream when they saw you? How'd you get here? What happened? What was your original purpose? And she tells them, and they're just like, oh, okay, non-eventful there. And it's like a funny moment. And then what this culminates into with Susan and all these monsters meeting each other and just being with each other in this prison cell, that actually culminates into going back to the metal missile that Galaxar had sent down to Earth to get the Raritonium. It actually develops into more of a robotic mech with a single eye, where the government and the President of the United States, brilliantly played by Stephen Colbert, come down, and they actually, in a funny remake of Close Encounters of the Third Kind, they try to communicate with it, but once again, that's not Galaxy's plan. So the mech starts to destroy the army and everything around it as it looks and searches out for the Raritonium. So the president is backed into a corner, and the president asks, what are we to do? We can't do this. I want to launch my nukes, but I'm going to get a coffee, and my coffee and nuke button look exactly the same. I'm going to do the wrong thing. And, it's like just a whole bunch of hilarious setups and things. And I think they said it in the commentary, too, where the president and his cabinet and generals try to plan for this alien invasion. It's actually like Doctor Strangelove, where they're in the war room, and it looks exactly like Doctor Strangelove from Stanley Kubrick's movie, and it's really funny and a very great setup. And that's where General Monger comes in, and Monger says, I have my monsters. Let's use my monsters. Let's, fight fire with fire. And, so basically that's the general gist of the story, is that these monsters actually get a bit of clemency from the government, and they're actually sent out to fight against these aliens, where Susan's going to discover, does she want to be Ginormica, is what the government names her. Is she going to want to try to be normal? Is anybody going to understand her? Are these monsters going to function well within society? Is Galaxar going to win? I mean, there's a whole bunch of really cool things that just go into the movie. The movie has just got, like, well-to-do humor. It's very funny from all the cast. And there's, like I think, tons of cameos. There's John Krasinski. There's Renee Zellweger. Jeffrey Tambor. Julie. Oh, yeah, Julie White. Amy Poehler as Galaxar's computer. There's like all these, great people who just, help star in the movie. And that's what I've noticed about what DreamWorks and Disney both do, is they have a lot of great cameos that show up, and they're actually utilized well for the film. And not to mention, the CGI in this movie is really well done. I mean, the visuals are great. It's great for, science fiction, monster fun, and, it just really blends well with the film. So, you're not going to be disappointed. You're not going to see anything clammy or, half-baked or stuff like that. It's done really well, and they actually are very proud of the work they did on this movie. And also, because I mentioned how the scores are, I believe it's Was it, once again, oh no, actually, I thought it was Harry, or Rupert Gregson Williams, or Harry Gregson Williams, but it's actually Henry Jackman. Henry Jackman, if you guys know from recent superhero fame, who's been taken over as the main composer for these superhero films, did the music for this movie, and he does an amazing job. It's like got great bits of comedy and action in it, and you know, it's done really well. Like you will be pleased with it. And overall, this movie, once again, is just very fun. Has not as moralistic as B movie, and I think some of the other ones, like Over the Edge, and some of the other ones I've done. But there's a good message to it. There's great understanding. It shows how aliens, and well, aliens and humans can be cool, and they can, actually be a part of society, and it really impacts well. So overall, I give Monsters vs. Aliens. I believe I gave this movie believe I gave it a 10 out of 10 after I saw it, because great acting, great comedy, great music, great effects. Like it was really deserving, well, of a 10 out of 10, because it's just an entertaining movie. I mean, it's really good. If I had to go low enough, I'd say a 9 out of 10, but yeah, no lower than a 9, because this movie is actually really good and just well done. But in final sayings, what did you guys think of Monsters vs. Aliens? Have you guys even seen this movie yet at all? Like, just let me know what you guys think of it. Would it be your cup of tea? Would you mind seeing it? What would you guys do? So, just let me know. Send any comments or anything, because I do love when people comment. And, I do want to know what you guys think about these films I've been reviewing. And, do they have any significance to you? Because, like I said, I own good films and I own bad films for specific reasons. And, hey, I'm going to continue to do this to the best of my ability. Well, until then, this is 012 Boku coming at you with another movie review. I will see you guys again soon. And as you notice, internet is temporarily fixed. Me and one of my other roommates are going to be leaving soon, so I don't know if I'm going to be able to do these reviews at home, or if I'll have to keep trying to just do them at my parents' house when I have the time. But for right now, I was able to do it at my current home, and then we'll go from there. We'll see what happens. Okay? Talk to you then, guys. Bye-bye.